Three little roosters, one died of a pun. The killer was killed, and then there was one. At this point, it's only a matter of logic to know that neither Miles or Ryan is the killer. Miles was watching Adam as he was strangled to death, so unless Adam's death was somehow pre-recorded, Miles is innocent. As for Ryan, well, he was stuck in the hole when Gus was pitchforked, once again presuming that everything was taking place at the same moment in time. So logically speaking, only Barbara could be the killer at this point. The main question is, what are the weapons? Let's start with one died of a pun. Who can we associate with the weapon to make a punny death? Ryan can be associated with the king's crown. He is the Mad King after all. In fact, when you beat someone over the head with an object, the term that is often used is getting crowned. However, it's quite the obvious pairing, a king and his crown. So what about Miles? We've had our eye on Crescent Rose the entire time. Part of the name Crescent Rose is crescent, as in crescent moon. Miles' last name Luna is a term for the moon. However, the name Crescent Luna isn't quite as catchy as Crescent Moon. So what else? Well, Miles' name is also a unit of distance. There are plenty of different puns that can be made with that. The unit of distance mixed with the treadmill, which tracks your progress. All that combined with the fact that he's dressed like Ruby. Her semblance is speed, allowing her to move faster than most. And the theme song even says, "A warrior will soon run wild." So out of all the puns that could be made, Miles' death hits more than any. And there you go. Miles dies of a pun. Three little roosters and he couldn't run the mile. Fortunately for him, he was dressed with some style. As for the very final death, it wasn't exactly the same as all the rest. For most of the ones you had the riddle to go off of. Hence, one died of a pun. Miles was killed. However, for the final one, the killer was killed. You can't exactly place a murder weapon off of that. In the final episode, everything is kind of explained to you, and you could see Barbara is wearing the creeper suit. In fact, in the finale, she fully explains that you could have guessed it was her as the killer from episode 1. From her random disappearances to asking yourself, why were Barbara's dick drawings in those files? How did they get there? Also, in day 1, everyone was given a murder photo. Every single person's name was underlined, except Barbara's. In hers, the pun was underlined. Also, you might remember she was the one who suggested that no one go anywhere.
No one's going anywhere until we find the killer.
However, she was also the one to suggest that everyone get the hell out of there.
Why don't we get the hell out of here?
She was contradicting herself. But, as she said it, it was the cat piano and the glass that really made her look suspicious in the end. She explains it all, and thus the killer is killed. Two little roosters, Barbara's plan was so flawed. She was finally killed by the only dark god. As for placing Ryan, well, that required a bit of guessing. Since we were given the entire riddle from day 1, you were capable of placing people's deaths before they happened. You could weed out certain people. One died to scale. That was an easy one right off the bat. So you could gamble eliminating Gus from the entire equation day 1. That, along with everyone who appears to be openly talking about their killing, has a quote-unquote alibi that they're fine with, acquitting them. Those, along with Barbara playing Hall of the Mountain King in the background, which gives you some possible survivors. Like Gus, since he's the podcast king, and Ryan, who's the Mad King. There's a lot of long-term strategy, but with some process of elimination and some lucky guessing, if you oh so desired, you could have guessed it from day 1. Not with 100% certainty, but with a maybe. And there you have it. Ryan Haywood walks free. One Mad King who has finally evolved. And that's how these episodes were supposed to be solved.